definitely spring. I think it's fair to say that my Caledon Ski Club experience was a big success. There were days, especially in February when it was bitter cold, that I was questioning my life choices. I contemplated 50 ways to quit. But of course, at that point, I had a relationship with Sam, and just because I didn't want to let her down, I stuck it out for the season. And then, of course, when the temperatures were a little bit more reasonable and I got involved in my staff appreciation video, it became a lot of fun. And I'm glad I made it through the season. I'm glad I got to know this organization at such an interesting level. I was really operating in the belly of the beast and got to know the club from a perspective that I wouldn't have been able to get as a member. It's a fantastic group of people, both staff as well as the members. An unbelievable, fascinating property. And also, of course, a very interesting challenge ahead. You don't have to convince the Caledon Ski Club that climate change is a thing. They can just go into the books and realize, like, oh, the books don't lie, and the Caledon Ski Club has been relying on snowmaking for, I would say, at least a decade, if not longer. Because even at the best winters with plenty of snow, you don't get the base depth that you need in order to be able to ski. So snowmaking starts right in December, right when the temperature gets cold enough to create a nice deep base layer that then acts as a refrigerator for whatever snow falls naturally. Which wasn't a heck of a lot this season. It didn't start snowing until well into January, and always the snow was followed by a thaw. I know, I live in this area, I know exactly how much snow fell, and also I know exactly how much snow stuck around, and it wasn't enough for skiing, I can tell you. So the club has been relying on snowmaking for a while, which of course adds costs. Just the snowmaking itself costs money. There's equipment, there's labor, there's fuel. And that's not the only thing. It's not just that snowmaking itself is costly, it also adds another grooming a day. Because as much as we like to think about snowmaking machines making snow, it's not snow. Snow is formed over about 1 kilometer of falling, free falling and forming, and that's why snow ends up being such an incredible, fluffy, beautiful substance. What is being made in snow making is basically frozen particles of water that can pass as snow, that is definitely skiable, that's why they do it, but it's not snow. And one way in which you can really tell that it is not snow is that it freezes overnight. So the groomers have to go out again in the morning to fluff it all up. Otherwise you're just skiing on a sheet of ice. And I'm a huge fan of grooming, believe me. It is a challenge. You're faced with operating a ski resort in an area that really doesn't allow skiing anymore. I hate to break the news to you. And of course it allows skiing if you're willing to make snow and go out twice a day grooming. I mean, you can go full throttle Dubai and just build a ginormous dome around the whole Caledon Ski Club and refrigerate it, make snow, you could ski year round. You know, just build a nuclear power plant next door for your energy needs and you're good to go. My point is that it also raises ethical questions. It raises environmental questions. There's a heck of a lot of fossil fuels being burned just so that we can ski in the Caledon Hills. So there are practical challenges, as in how much longer can we do this? You still need the cool days. You can't have too many big thaws. So there are practical issues. Then there are financial challenges. Gas is likely not going to get much cheaper, on the contrary. And having an operation that relies highly on fossil fuels is going to get more costly. I mean, there's no way around it. Peak oil came and went. We are using more fossil fuels than we are producing. That means that we're dipping into our reserves, which means that prices inevitably will go up. It might just get too expensive at some point to rely on fossil fuels to make your snow. And then there might also come a time where the government is putting high taxes on a carbon-intensive operation such as the Caledon Ski Club. And some ethical questions may arise that at some point say, listen, you guys can't operate here anymore as you do, burning this much fossil fuel for a hobby, for a pastime, for something that has no real economic value other than providing leisure for middle-class people. Which is like totally legit, of course, but could we provide this service in an area that actually supports skiing? Which is an issue worldwide, even in the mountains. Even in the Alps, they are making snow due to global warming, climate change. So it is a conversation that is happening within the alpine world, worldwide, and I'm very curious to find out how this conversation is happening inside of the Caledon Ski Club. And if it is a conversation, and if it is not a conversation, I would be very interested in starting that conversation. My interest in the Caledon Ski Club reaches far beyond skiing. As a matter of fact, skiing is just icing on the cake. It's a fun sport. I like it. My kids and I have been skiing for years, or my kids snowboard, of course. But the attraction to the Caledon Ski Club is more about this absolutely gorgeous gem of a property in the heart of Caledon, absolutely astoundingly beautiful piece of property with an incredible infrastructure, with a grandfathered in allowance for, like, what is it, over 40 homes on a 200-acre property with that much terrain is mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. The two lodges and all the auxiliary buildings are stunning, beautiful, incredible, versatile, and all in all, this property is beyond fascinating and has an incredible potential, far beyond skiing, far beyond skiing. And if the skiing is still a thing in 20 years, great. Fantastic. I mean, why not? The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is now. But the very best time to start thinking about the Galenden Ski Club beyond skiing is now. We are still 20 years back from, oh, oops, there's no more snow and we can't make snow because it's not cold enough, and besides, oil prices are through the roof, so skiing is no longer an option. Oops, what are we going to do with this property now? Well, we're 20 years from that point where you have to acknowledge, like, okay, so we can't do what we always have been doing anymore. So this would be the time to really start projecting a vision into the future of what else can this property be. And I would love to be part of that conversation. I do. And I think me and my husband can contribute to that conversation, both in the dreaming phase as well as in the actually creating that vision, actually manifesting and making it happen. We're experts on the matter, believe me.